Hello and welcome back to the final collection showcase, which won't be as long as all of the others, and that is my VHS collection. Now, there will be two VHSs that you will have seen in different collection-based videos, being Doctor Who and Star Trek. But aside from that, it's last year of 2024 is where I got massively into collecting VHS because I was constantly finding it. And then, of course, March of last year was when I bought my small little CRT TV that had a VHS player built in for me to actually be able to watch my VHSs and to test to see what worked and what didn't. And thankfully, every VHS that I have gotten does indeed work. So, yeah, with that being said, let's, of course, start off with the TV shows. And that being, in, of course, alphabetical order, we do have the Doctor Who Trial of a Time Lord, which was released for the 30th anniversary on VHS. Now, when I bought this, the tapes had never been used. So they have split the episodes into three different tapes. Unfortunately, there is no artwork on any of the tapes. It's just it just says Doctor Who Trial of a Time Lord Part 1. And it's like that for the other two tapes. This is not a story that I have seen, and I do, of course, own this on DVD as well. But if I were to actually sit down to start watching Trial of a Time Lord, I will more than likely want to experience it on the VHS here. Simply because I never done that. I've never experienced Doctor Who on VHS. It's always been, DVD and Blu-ray. So, and then of course on TV channels as well. So that is something that I will definitely be doing in the future. Next is this CBBC, the best of preschool television. The simple reason why I got it is because a lot of these all of them are nostalgic to me because these are episodes, shows that I remember growing up with on CBBC, like Bill and Ted, or Bill and Ben, sorry, the Fimbles, Teletubbies, the Tweenies, and a long forgotten one of mine as well, being Andy Pandy and his friends. So that's the whole reason why I got it. And it was, like a lot of these VHSs, they are pretty cheap pickups, but it does come in this paper sleeve, and it's the that is a paper sleeve as well. So I have very few VHSs that have paper sleeves. Then wrapping up with the TV shows here, we do have this Spider-Man VHS tape of the 90s Spider-Man, the Spider-Man that I grew up with reruns on Jetix, Fox Kids, before it became Jetix, and before then it became Disney XD. So this has a handful of episodes on there, and it does have artwork on the tape itself. And so, yeah, I was very happy to add that into my collection. This one, I'm not going to go too into depth on. This is the only surviving family video footage that I have, that my mother recorded. And I am glad that I do still own it, because it's the only way in the past going on 8 years that I've been able to actually listen to my mother's voice, so I can never really forget what she sounded like. So yeah, I'm happy now that, because I think the DVD copy that I had got thrown out. I do have it saved on my laptop, and I do have a unlisted version of it on my YouTube channel. That's just for myself and my family to view. And yeah, so now we actually do get on to movies. And then, so as always, starting in numerical/alphabetical order, we do have the 101 Dalmatians movie, which I do believe I have seen. If not, I definitely have seen a trailer for this in for Toy Story 2 on VHS. And the cool thing about this VHS is the fact that it's, white with black spots to mimic a Dalmatian, which I always thought to be very, very cool. The fact that, there's not many times that VHS tapes do something like that. It's always your standard black tape. And then, of course, I do have the 102 Dalmatians sequel that I had. Since this is one of the first versions of the Disney classics that they've done. And then, of course, nowadays you can't breathe without a new announcement of a classic being reanimated. There is one that I'm going to be looking forward to, and that is, of course, Lilo and Stitch, and that's the only one that I will actually sit down and properly watch. Anyway, moving on to A Bug's Life. Now, this is kind of iffy. It definitely breaks in and out, but it will do for now. And then, of course, this does have artwork on the tape itself. I didn't show, but this is a standard one, but it does have artwork there. So, because I like when, VHS tapes, DVDs and Blu-rays do put artwork on the actual thing, because it does look nice. I prefer to have artwork than have the standard looking thing. Then going into another classic, let me just move my tripod back here, is Atlantis, the Lost Empire. I have definitely seen this. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen a lot of the movies that I'm showing off here. But it is, like, very, very early memories here, so I don't remember a lot of it, but I'm 90% sure I have seen that. Now, one that I haven't seen is Missard by Steven Spielberg. Simply because the only reason I own this is because when I did buy my VHS player, this for like a $5, this and a few other movies came with it. So that is the end of the first stack. It's time for me to go grab the next. Okay, I have the next stack here, and we're starting off with Cats and Dogs. Again, another movie that I definitely have seen as a kid, but don't remember a whole lot about it. But I definitely do remember seeing it, and I was surprised to learn that it got a few sequels as well, probably straight to VHS/DVD sequels, and not something that would have been widely released in cinema. Next is a Forrest Gump, and when I initially bought this, I did not realize it was a German copy. Yes, I still own this German release of Forrest Gump. It does work. There even is some advertisements for Star Trek Generations, and even on the tape itself, one of the movies that is advertised is Star Trek Generations. So it's interesting to see a German version of that. So I still have that in my collection, just because. Next up, we do have Brendan Fraser in George of the Jungle. Again, one of the movies I absolutely loved and adored as a kid. I love Brendan Fraser in general. He's been on a lot of my favorite projects. This, as well as the Mummy franchise. He was also a recurring character in Scrubs, and then we had that emotional episode of his departure as well. And he's just been in so much that I remember loving, and I'm so happy that he has been having this comeback that he deserves, and that he realizes that a lot of his fans still love him to this day. So yeah, I'm happy to own this in my collection, because I definitely do want to rewatch it. And it's an rental from Extravision, which is one of the rental places here, from Blanchardstown. So they had they even have a "Please rewind the tape" there on it, which is hilarious. Now, this is missing a cover, but this is one of the very first VHS tapes I ever bought in my collection, and that is the very first Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I do love the Harry Potter franchise. I grew up on it, and but I do keep my distance, with the way J.K. Rowling is now. but it is definitely one of like my all-time favorite memories as a kid growing up. You know, going to the cinema whenever a new one would come out and watching it with my mother. You know, that was a lot of precious memories that I will hold dear in relation to this franchise. And then I got super lucky to find the Chamber of Secrets on VHS, because I also remember owning this on VHS. And for the longest time, Chamber of Secrets was my favorite movie, because I was convinced that this was the very first movie I seen in cinema that I have memories of. But it's not. It's actually the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, just a few months earlier than this. And then as well, I have Prisoner of Azkaban, which I'm super happy to have as well. So, because there's only been 3 Harry Potter movies released on VHS. This was the last one. Because again, in around the time that Prisoner of Azkaban came out in 2004, they were stopped doing VHS tapes because DVD had become a lot more accessible for people. You know, the PlayStation 2 is the most highest selling console of all time because it is a DVD player. So people were buying that to use as a DVD player and then also using it as a game system. So that's why the PlayStation 2 is the highest selling console of all time. Moving on to another movie that I remember watching growing up, being the very first Ice Age, and I absolutely loved it. Now, I have not seen this in 20 years, and there's definitely some movies, and I think I only seen like maybe the first, this one, the second one, maybe the third one. I'm not 100% sure, but the fact that they're making a 5th one is fucking wild to me. You know, sometimes you just need to let a franchise be. Another movie that I have not seen in my collection, and I know it's going to be like, what, really? You haven't seen this absolute masterpiece of a film? And yeah, I have not seen Jurassic Park, but I do own it on VHS because, well, what better way to experience this movie than in VHS? So whenever I do get around to watching this, I'll of course decide to watch it on VHS. Moving on to the very first Pokemon movie. I was so happy to actually see this out in the wild on VHS because, again, I had this as a kid. I grew up watching this religiously on movie. It's so good. You know, I did do a review back in 2022 for this where I reviewed the first 3 Pokemon movies. They didn't do well view-wise initially, which is why I never continued to review any of the Pokemon movies. I should actually check to see how well they are at now. But I love this movie. I love the little short that we get in the beginning, Pikachu's Vacation. That I just absolutely loved. And then the music in this as well is absolutely amazing. I just love it so much. So that's why I'm very happy to have Mewtwo Strikes Back. Now we get to last 2 for this stack, and they're again 2 movies that I have not seen. And that is, of course, The Parent Trap. This was, again, one of the early VHSs that I bought prior to getting a VHS player. And then, again, probably definitely one of the first, this and the Philosopher's Stone were the 2 of the first VHSs that I ever bought. And that is, of course, as you see here, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, which I have seen bits and pieces of, just not in full. So, yeah, I'm very happy to have this, and I will get around to it eventually. So now it's time to go grab another stack. And we actually are getting pretty close to the end of this video already. Like I said, it's not going to be as long as my other collection videos. Okay, so continuing with movies that I have not seen, we have The Runaway Jury. This was another movie that was included when I bought the TV. So yeah, I haven't seen it, don't know much about it, but it's still in the collection. Next, again, another one that I have not seen is Reservoir Dogs. Now, I own 2 copies of this, not on VHS. I only own 1 copy on VHS and 1 special edition Blu-ray So but I definitely think I were to watch Reservoir Dogs, I'd probably go for the VHS. Since I do own on VHS. And now we get into back to movies that I have seen, starting with the special editions of the original trilogy. The original trilogy of Star Wars. So yeah, I think I got this for like €8 in a charity shop. So basically €2 a tape. So there they are there, and honestly, I really do love the artwork on these. So whoops, these are the last of the paper sleeved. Well, the second last of the paper sleeve tapes that I have. So here we have the artwork for Star Wars. It's not even titled A New Hope, which I absolutely love. Then, of course, we have Empire Strikes Back, which is everybody's favorite but me, which was I done for a 200 subscriber special. Then I took it down because it wasn't great, and then I redid it for when I done the very first trilogy month, as I almost knocked back the tripod to fall. And then, of course, lastly, we do have Return of the Jedi. Now, I'm not sure if between this coming out or not that I might have eventually picked up the first episode 1 and 2 on VHS. That was not me farting. That was just this. I swear. But yeah, I might have picked it up. But then again, I don't know if I want to spend a tenner per tape. But maybe I will. I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Next, of course, is Shrek 1, which I have not seen in well over 20 years. I've, of course, seen bits and pieces of it, but I have not watched it in full in that long, and it is actually missing the front cover there. But I have tested it, and it is 100% Shrek. And then, of course, I do have Shrek 2, which is everyone's favorite sequel. I still think Kung Fu Panda is the better of the two. So yeah, then we get this sing-along songs, The Bare Necessities, which has these songs on it, being The Bare Necessities twice from Jungle Book, You Are a Human Animal, the Mickey Mouse Club, Cinderella Work Song from Cinderella, Old Yeller from Old Yeller, and then just all the rest. What is interesting about this is the color of the tape, being the blue and the red. Because when, I have a resident expert of VHS on hand, being Gareth over at Video Tasties, and he had never seen that before, so which I thought was very interesting. And back to movies that I have not seen, being Scarface, Al Pacino Scarface, and I do own this on DVD, I believe. So again, if I were to watch this, I'll more than likely go for the VHS copy. And then another one that I have not seen, which is a Kubrick film, being Spartacus. Just have not seen it, but it was included with one of the tapes, as one of the tapes for when I bought the TV. And then the last one for this stack before I have to go put these back, which means I'm going to have to get on the floor to do so before I can grab another stack, is Star Trek Insurrection, the only Star Trek VHS tape that I own in my collection currently. This was a kind gift by Gareth over at Video Tasties, as well as a few movie posters as well. And it works. It was a spare copy that he had, and he was very kindly enough to send it over. All I had to do was pay the postage for that and the posters. So going to pause whilst I go put those back. Okay, so the last couple of tapes that I have here is Spy Kids 1. Now, I did rewatch this on VHS when I did Trilogy Month, the last time I done Trilogy Month, and it was so very nostalgic to me, because I love this movie. It's definitely one that I remember growing up with, that I was obsessed with along with my cousins, and so it brought back a heap of memories from back in that day. And then, of course, I do have the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie on VHS. It's the only one that I own on VHS. But, like I said, this was the very first movie I remember seeing in cinema. Then moving on to Stuart Little, a movie that I have not seen in 20 years, that I do want to change at some point, but of course I will watch the VHS of it. And then of course I do have Stuart Little 2. Again, another one that I have not seen since I was a kid, but I will get around to it at some point. Next we get to two movies that I have yet to watch. I've only seen the first one. I don't own the first one on VHS, but I do also own them on DVD, and that is The Godfather Part 2. Everyone's favorite movie. Everyone says that this is the best movie of all time. I just have yet to watch it because I did enjoy the first one. It's not as great as everyone says it is, but I still enjoyed the first movie enough to want to go check out Godfather Part 2. And I know a lot of people do say to avoid The Godfather Part 3, but I have no problem giving it a shot just to see my own opinion. But yeah, like The Godfather Part 2, I do own Part 3 on DVD as well. Now we get back to some childhood favorites of mine, being Toy Story. Now, of course, this is kind of beat up. The cover is, but I don't care. The tape still works. The tape is amazing. And I love Toy Story. I love the franchise, except for Toy Story 3. That is definitely a controversial opinion that I do have. Maybe for the next Trilogy Month, I will eventually address that. But I also do have Toy Story 2, which again was one of my all-time favorite movies growing up. I would have this on repeat. I loved the outtakes that they would have at the end of the movie as the credits were rolling. I wet myself laughing at how amazing that was, and I wish Disney and Pixar would bring that back, because it is so funny. It really is. But then back to one that I have not seen, and that is of course the original animation version of The Lord of the Rings. I have to say, I really do love this artwork. It's really, really cool. But again, I have not seen this version. I have seen, of course, the Peter Jackson movies. But yeah, maybe when I feel like getting back into The Lord of the Rings, I might give that one a shot. Another one that I absolutely loved and adored growing up was The Emperor's New Groove. This was my introduction to David Spade. You know, I do enjoy some of the movies that I have seen him in, this being one of them, as well as Grown Ups, just to name a few off of the top of my head there. But yeah, it is one that I absolutely love. I even love the TV show, which I know David Spade didn't actually voice Cusco in the TV show. I think he did for the first and last episode. But the voice alike that they got for that I really enjoyed. And then of course he did come back to voice Cusco in Kronk's New Groove, which is something that I really do like. Kronk's New Groove as well, on par with The Emperor's New Groove. But another one that I have not seen is The Sword in the Stone. It's just not one that I was privy to growing up, but I do have it in the collection, so I will of course give it a watch at some point. Just 4 more tapes to go through here. They're all movies that I have, 3 of which I have seen, not so much the final one. But another classic here is Tarzan. This was another one that I grew up on, that I have some memories with. Next is one of my favorite movies of all time, being The Karate Kid. I love this movie so much that I have it on nearly every format, because I'm not sure if it has a 4K release yet, but I do have it on VHS, I do have it on DVD, and I do have it on Blu-ray. That's how much I love the original Karate Kid. And it's definitely a franchise that I'm going to do a deep dive into this year, because probably not long after this video comes out, the Cobra Kai is going to end. With the final 5 episodes, which of course I'm going to binge the day it comes out. So if you want to see my raw reactions and stuff to that, check out my vlog channel. The link is always in the description below. Then we do have the special edition, the 25 25th anniversary edition of The Exorcist, a movie that I watched back in 2023, and thought it was okay. It wasn't as scary as a lot of people say it was, but I do appreciate it for what it was. I mean, it wasn't until the 25th anniversary that it actually released in Ireland, because for the longest time it was banned because of the subject matter that it was talking about. And then the final one in the VHS collection is The Road to El Dorado, a movie that I have not seen yet, but it is definitely one on my to-do list to get to. There are definitely 3 VHSs that I would say are my holy grails that I really do want to get my hands on. The first one being my favorite Star Trek movie of all time, being Star Trek First Contact. What's been preventing me from buying it is the high postage I'd have to pay from England just to get it here. I'll be like, the tape is like maybe like €4 or €5, but the postage alone is like 10 to 11 to 15. So that's why I don't feel like dropping that much on it. I'd rather wait to maybe be lucky enough to find it out in the wild. Another one that I'd really want to have in my collection is my childhood favorite movie, being Thomas and the Magic Railroad. And then another childhood favorite of mine that I would love to have is The Prince of Egypt. So those are the 3 grails that I have that I'm going to hope to add into my collection this year. But we will see. But that is going to wrap this up. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. As this is the last of the collection videos, there will never be another collection showcase after this. But yeah, I will catch you all on the 15th, which is the next video that I have planned, which is going to be a Captain America Cinevlog, the very first Cinevlog of 2025. So I'll catch you all in the next upload.